Hi everyone, I'm Teacher Scott and I'm teaching you how to make kitchari today. Kitchari is an Ayurvedic staple. It's one of the greatest foods you can eat. It's used in Ayurveda for cleansing. When people do panchakarma cleanses, they eat nothing but kitchari for 5 or 10 days in a row because it's so easy to digest. It gives your digestive tract the ability to rest while still giving yourself nutrients. We also spice kitchari appropriately for Ayurveda, adding just the right spices to do what's called deepana and pachana. We stoke the fire that's within the stomach and we burn up all that bad undigested food stuff. So kitchari is in a way a superfood, and today we'll learn how to make it. So the first thing you need when you make kitchari is you need 1 cup of yellow moong dal. Many of you may not have ever heard of moong dal before. It's a lentil. It's a yellow lentil. And when you cook it down to where it's in a soup, that's what the Indians call dal. And what I have here in the pot right here is 1 cup of yellow lentils. As you can see, they're very tiny. And what we're going to do before we're going to cook anything at all is we're going to wash these lentils. It's traditional in India, probably because other items end up in the lentils as well. So you have to make sure that your lentils are actually just lentils. These are organic moong lentils or moong beans. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to wash the lentils with some water. So turn on the water. Here we go. You get them all good like that. You get it around. Notice how they bubble. They bubble up. Turn this off. Control this properly. And then you move your hands around like that, getting your hands into the lentils. All the bubbles come up. You're cleaning these nice organic lentils. We have 1 cup of lentils. It's going to actually make quite a bit of dal because the ratio of water with the lentils is 6 cups of water for every 1 cup of lentils. So then we pour out the water slowly, like this. And then once the beans start to come out as well, you're going to use your hand as like a little mini filter here. Boom! Washed lentils. We usually wash them twice, so we'll do that one more time. Add some more water. See, they're bubbling up. All those bubbles are what's going to cause you gas if you don't wash them. So if you want to make beans safe for your friends and family at dinner time so that you're not stinking up the room, definitely wash your beans first. Let me pour out the water like that. When it gets close, we use our hand as a little cover. And boom. Now that they're washed, we want to soak the beans for 20 minutes. So once again, we'll add water. And we'll just leave this to the side to soak, and then we'll come back and we'll show you what to do next. So next up, we have to add our spices, or at least prepare our spices. And I like to use a little spice grinder for my spices so that it really brings out the flavor into the kitchari if you just chop up the spices a little bit. And the first spice we'll be adding is fennel. Fennel is the best spice for vata dosha. Okay, it reduces the air and space element that might be out of balance in the body. So we add 1 teaspoon of fennel. Next up is coriander seeds. Coriander seeds are the best for pitta dosha, and they reduce all the inflammation in the body. So I like to add 1 teaspoon of coriander. And next we have cumin. Cumin's the best for reducing kapha in the body. So once again, 1 teaspoon of cumin will go in to reduce kapha, which is the water and earth elements of the body. And lastly, I like to add 1/4 teaspoon, just a little bit of black peppercorns. Black pepper is very spicy and can be too heating and if you add too much, can create a very spicy kitchari. But just a little bit will help you to digest the kitchari even better and help reduce the gases that might be produced if you eat beans. So 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And lastly, my secret spice, the spice that you don't often find in kitchari, is just a little bit of ajwain. Ajwain. It's a great spice. It's very heating, so we're just going to add 1/4 teaspoon. Just a little bit, but it also helps you digest the kitchari and gives it a little bit of a heavier flavor. So put all the spices into your spice blender, and then activate the spice blender. I like to go about 10 seconds. And then you can see, kind of through the top, I'll turn it over. I have to unplug it first. There we go. Turn it upside down. This is a great little spice blender. Makes a little bit of a mess on the kitchen, but not a problem. And gets you a spice that looks like that. Okay, everyone, this is what the dal looks like after it's been soaked for 20 minutes. You can see how the beans have gotten a little bit bigger because they've absorbed some of the water. And these are ready to go. We also need for this recipe 1/3 cup of rice. So we'll have 1 cup of dal and 1/3 cup of rice is the ratio we'll be using. Okay, so now we have to add the ghee. Ghee is the most amazing thing ever. Always use a dry spoon when you deal with ghee. You don't have to refrigerate ghee. And this ghee I really like. It's Ancient Organics ghee. Apparently it was made under the light of the full moon. At least that's what the owners told me once. So you want 2 tablespoons of this ghee, and you can use heaping tablespoons because more ghee is always good. Good fat is good for you. And then when the ghee melts, if you want to make sure it coats the whole bottom of the pan, like that. And as the ghee is melting, we'll add our spices. This is our fresh spice mix that we just ground up. Oh, it smells so good. We'll add that in as the ghee is melting. And then next up, we'll add some other things. We have a half teaspoon of brown mustard seeds. We'll add that in. We'll add in a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. You can always add more salt to taste. We have 3/4 teaspoons of ginger root powder. This helps you to digest. Ginger is the best for your digestion. And next we'll add in some turmeric. This is a 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric. This is anti-inflammatory. It's antipyretic, antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial. Turmeric's the best spice for all your insides. And as the ghee is melting, we'll mix it all up here, just to get the ghee with all the spices. And next, we'll add in our moong dal and mix our moong dal around with the ghee and the spices. Then we'll add water. Remember, we need to add, this is 5 cups of water, and then I need to add another 2 cups of water. So we want the ratio for moong dal to water is always 6-1, unless you want it soupy. If you want it soupy, you can do an 8-1 ratio. And then for rice, it's about a 2-1 ratio. So because we used 1/3 cup of rice, really 2/3 cups of water, but we round it up to 7 cups total. So now that we have all our water in place, just stir it, and we can take the heat all the way up to high. Okay, and then we add 1/3 cup of rice into the hot mixture. This is right, still at the beginning. We forgot to add it earlier because it was sitting off to the side. You don't have to add rice. If you just make kitchari without rice, it's just mung dal then, which is just mung beans cooked down to a soup. But you can use another grain if you want. You can use quinoa or any grain that suits your fancy. But Indian white basmati rice is the best, at least in traditional Ayurvedic medicine. Okay, so it's been about 5.5 minutes since we started the heat on high heat, and we can see how it's at a high boil now. So you want to stir this up real good and lower the heat. You don't need to have it at such a high boil. Okay, here we are at 11 minutes at a low boil. I'm just going to stir it up a little bit. You can see how it's starting to cook together nicely here. Okay, here we are at 17.5 minutes. We just want to stir this up. It's just starting to look like real kitchari right now. You can probably even eat it at this point, but I like to cook it down a little more. But this is going to be yummy superfood. You can eat nothing but kitchari for a week, and you will lose weight, you'll feel better, and you'll be on a calorie restriction diet. So really good for a short-term fast. You can also do kitchari just once a week. You can eat kitchari just to give your digestion a rest. Okay, here we are at 24 minutes. We're going to do a little stirring, there we go. You can see our spices in there. You can see the brown mustard seeds in there. This is looking good. It's almost ready. We can see once it reaches this consistency, you can stop here if you want and eat it. But I think we're going to cook it just a little more. Here we are, the kitchari is just about done. You can tell it's done because we have to keep stirring regularly towards the end to make sure that none of the kitchari sticks to the pot. But you can tell it's done because the water that's rising to the top, there's not much of it, and there's just a little bit of bubbling happening here. So this is the consistency that I like my kitchari. Okay, so everyone, here is the kitchari. It is done. You can see it here before it spills off the spoon a little bit. And I'm going to try the kitchari. Wow, it's really hot, but oh, is it good. You can eat, this can be your complete meal for the week, complete meal for the day, complete meal for a meal. But kitchari is just an amazing thing. So I hope you've had a good time today watching about how to make kitchari with Teacher Scott. And tune in to my website, teacherscott.org, or sign up and subscribe for my YouTube page, Yoga and Ayurveda with Teacher Scott. Thank you and namaste.